Good morning students. Welcome to the social studies class of 7th standard history lesson number 1 sources of medieval India class part 2. In last class we have seen about the sources and its different types and the importance of sources. So once we recall this concept now, recap sources. Sources has divided into two categories. One is primary sources, another one is secondary sources. Primary sources is also called as archaeological sources. Secondary sources is also called as literary sources. The next topic is coins. Coins played a major role in the topic of sources, which give more information about the medieval India. So coins conveys the name of the kings and their titles. At the same time, it issues the portraits. Portrait is nothing but the images of the kings and events, places, dates, dynasties and logos. So these all the informations we can get from the coins. Coins also depicts the economic condition of the particular empire. So it depicts what? Economic condition of the particular empire from the coins. And coin also give information about the king's achievements. King's achievements means their military conquest and their expansions and their trade links and religious faith. Everything we can know from the coins. Here we have some example of the coins. First one is Muhammad Ghori's coin. So Muhammad Ghori was a Turkish invader who invaded into India. So in that time he issued the coin with the figure of the goddess Lakshmi. Goddess Lakshmi, you know that she is a Hindu god. So and also he inscribed his name on the coin. So with this we can find these Turkish invaders liberal on the religious outlook. Next one is copper jitals. Jital is nothing, it's just a name of the copper coin during the period of Delhi Sultan. So if we get the copper coin jital, we can get information about the Delhi Sultans. Next one is Tanka. Tanka is a coin which was introduced by the Iltutmish. Next one is gold coin. Gold coin of Alauddin Khilji. And next one is copper token currency of the Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So with these examples, we can know about the coinage as well as the economic condition of the particular empire. So how can we know economic condition? The metal which was used by the empire which depicts the economic condition of the dynasties. So let me see the images of the some example of coins now, students.
Look at this picture, students. Here we have two example picture of coins of Muhammad Ghori. See in the second picture. In second picture, he stamped the image of goddess Lakshmi, and next side of this coin he inscribed his name. Why? Because with that we can find who issued this coin. So coin also played a major role to know about the particular empire or dynasties which was issued.
Next topic is secondary sources. Secondary sources also called as literary sources. That is, here all the sources are in the form of written. So written records are available in the secondary sources. In this secondary sources, first we are going to see about the religious literature. Here, this literature totally belongs to the religious. So, religious based literatures available here in the medieval time. During the time of 6th to 8th century, the devotional movement in South and North India reached its peak. In this time, it paved the way for the rise of the Bhakti literature. So that is called religious literature. In the period of Chola, there was lot of religious works raised. So that Chola period was called as the period of devotional literature. Which period is called as devotional literature? Chola period. Chola period also called as the period of devotional literature. Here some example literary works during the time of Chola period. First one is Kambaramayanam. Kambaramayanam was composed by poet Kambar. Who composed Kambaramayanam? Kambar. Next one is Periya Puranam. Periya Puranam was composed by Sekilar. Who composed the Periya Puranam? Sekilar. Next one is Nalayira Divya Prabandham. What is this? Nalayira Divya Prabandham was composed by 12 Alvars. Alvar people, they were the devotees of Lord Vishnu. They called as Alvars. There were 12 Alvars. In the contrast, there is 63 Nayanmars. They were the devotees of the Lord Shiva. Here, Nalayira Divya Prabandham was composed by the 12 Alvars and which was compiled by the Nadamuni. Who composed the Nalayira Divya Prabandham means you have to say 12 Alvars. If they ask who compiled the Nalayira Divya Prabandham means you have to say the answer Nadamuni, whose name was Nadamuni. Next one is Devaram. Devaram was written by 3 Nayanmars whose name was Appar, Sambandar and Sundarar. These 3 people very important Nayanmars among the 63 Nayanmars. They were just composed the Devaram which was compiled by the Nambiyandar Nambi. Who compiled the Devaram? Nambiyandar Nambi. Who composed the Devaram? These 3 people, Appar, Sambandar and Sundarar. Next one is Tiruvasagam. Tiruvasagam was composed by the Manikavasagar. Who wrote the Tiruvasagam? Manikavasagar. So these are all the example literary works during the time of Chola period. Not only this Chola period people, there were other people also there. First one is Geeta Govindam. The Geeta Govindam was written by Jayadeva. He belongs to the 12th century. And next one is Kabir Das. Kabir Das in the period of 15th century. So these are all the example for the religious literature which gives the brief information about the medieval India. Students, next topic is secular literature. The secular literature is different from the religious literature. How it is different means, religious literature give information about the particular religion, isn't it? But secular literature has no significant base on religion. It does not have any religious based text. It consists of non-religious text. So, the secular literature is different from the religious literature. What is secular literature? Secular literature has no significant base on religion. It consists of non-religious text. Here we have some example for the secular literature. First one is Madhura Vijayam. What is that? Madhura Vijayam was written by Ganga Devi. And next one is Amukta Malyada. What is that? Amukta Malyada was written by Krishna Devaraya. These 2 books were related to the Vijayanagara Empire. These 2 books describes the events held in the Vijayanagara Empire. Next one is Prithviraj Raso. Prithviraj Raso was very famous book during the medieval time. So this book was written by Chand Bardai. So Prithviraj Raso was a poem which described the life of Rajput king Prithviraj Chauhan. So Prithviraj Raso book was related to which Rajput king? Prithviraj Chauhan. Chand Bardai was a core poet of Prithviraj Chauhan. So he wrote about the Prithviraj Chauhan's braveness and his achievements in this book. This book was written in the 12th century in the language of Pingal language. Pingal language is a vernacular of the Rajasthan. So Rajput people mostly in the area of Rajasthan, no? So they have written in the language of Pingal language. Next one is Rajatarangini. Rajatarangini was written by the poet Kalhana. He was a court chronicler of the Kashmir. He was a Kashmiri poet. So he written the Rajatarangini in the language of Sanskrit language. This chronicles about the kings of Kashmir. So those who had ruled the area of Kashmir, no? So those kings were briefly described in the Rajatarangini book. This book was written in the 11th century. In this class we are going to see about two topics now. One is books, biographies and autobiographies. Another one is travelogues. These two topics comes under the category of the secondary sources. First one is books, biographies and autobiographies. Students, here books played a vital role to know about the people who were lived in the past. For example, here I have two books. One is Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography. Another one is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's autobiography. With these two books, we can know the full life history of these two people. Am I correct? So, books played a vital role to know about the people who lived in the past. Here we have some example of books. Let me see about that now. First one is Tabaqat-i-Nasri. First one is Tabaqat-i-Nasri. This book was written by Minhaj-as-Siraj. Okay, who written the book? Minhaj-as-Siraj. He was patronized by the ruler Naseeruddin Muhammad. He belongs to the slave dynasty. So patronized, what does that mean? Patronized, which means he fully supported to Minhaj-as-Siraj to write this book. So Minhaj-as-Siraj written this book with the name of Naseeruddin Muhammad because Naseeruddin Muhammad supported Minhaj-as-Siraj. So this book named with the name of Naseeruddin Muhammad. He belongs to the slave dynasty. This book contains the information about the events which held from the Muhammad Ghori's conquest in AD 1260 in India. So these are all the information we have in the Tabaqat-i-Nasri. Tabaqat-i-Nasri was written by Minhaj-as-Siraj. He was patronized by the Naseeruddin Muhammad. So he named his book with the name of Naseeruddin Muhammad. He belongs to the slave dynasty. This book is Taj-ul-Masir. This book was written by Hasan Nizami. Hasan Nizami was a migrant of Ghazni. Ghazni is a place now in Afghanistan. He was migrated from Ghazni to India. He wrote the book Taj-ul-Masir. This book deals with the information about Qutbuddin Aibak. Who was Qutbuddin Aibak? He was the first ruler of the slave dynasty. So, the information about the Qutbuddin Aibak, everything is in the book of Taj-ul-Masir. This book has one specialty, that is, this book only approved as the first official history of Delhi Sultanate. It's very important point, you can note it. Which book is considered as the first official history of Delhi Sultanate means you have to answer what? Taj-ul-Masir. Taj-ul-Masir was approved as first official history of Delhi Sultanate. Who wrote this book? Hasan Nizami. About what? It deals the information about the Qutbuddin Aibak of slave dynasty. Okay. Third one is Tarikh-i-Firoz Shahi. This book was written by Ziauddin Barani. He was the courtier of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Courtier means court chronicler. Court chronicler means he was the person who recorded the everyday events which held in the court of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So who was the courtier of Muhammad bin Tughlaq? Ziauddin Barani. He wrote the book Tarikh-i-Firoz Shahi. This book deals the history of Delhi Sultanate from the period of Ghiyasuddin Balban to the early ruling period of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Next one is Tarikh-i-Firishta. Tarikh-i-Firishta was the history of rise of Mughal power in India, which was written by Ferishta in the 16th century. So Tariq-i-Ferishta, which deals the information about the Mughal power, how was it raised in India, which was written by Ferishta in which century? 16th century. Next one is Babarnama. Babarnama was the autobiography of Babur. In this book, Babur mentioned the geographical features of our India. He was the first Mughal emperor who called our India as Hindustan. Next one is Ain-i-Akbari and Akbarnama. These two books written by Abul Fazil. He belongs to the 16th century. These two books explains the total life history of these two people. One is Babur, another one is Akbar. Next one is Tazuk-i-Jahangiri, which was the autobiography of Jahangir. In this book, Jahangir fully mentioned about his memories in the 17th century. Next one is Tabaqat-i-Akbari, which was written by Nizamuddin Ahmad. And next one is Tariq-i-Badani. Tariq-i-Badani is a history of the Badani, which was published in the year of 1595. This book has 3 volumes. In one volume, Badani fully explained the administration of the Akbar and his religious policy.
So, we have seen many sources of books and biographies, autobiographies, everything. So, before that, we should know the meaning of that word. See here, they have given some meaning. Tabaqat, Tazuk, Tariq or Tahuik. So, here the meaning. First one, Tabaqat, is an Arabic word. What is that? Arabic word which means generation or centuries. That is, it explains the generation or centuries of the particular person. And next one is Tazuk. Tazuk is an Persian word. That is Arabia, Persia, everything near, no. So, it is a Persian word which means autobiography. Autobiography is nothing. If I write my history by myself, that is called autobiography. If someone writing my history, that is called biography. That is the difference between autobiography and biography. Next one is Tariq. Tariq, it is a Arabic word which means history. That is history of somebody. This is the meaning of these 3 words, ma.
The last topic of this lesson is travelers and their travelogues. Many travelers have visited our India during the medieval time, but we are going to see about some particular travelers and their accounts. First traveler, Marco Polo. Marco Polo was a Venetian traveler of Italy. He visited our India during the time of Pandya kingdom started to rise as a big power in South India in 13th century. He visited the place Kayal. Kayal now in Thoothukudi district. He visited Kayal twice in South India. Actually, Kayal was a port city. This port city has lot of ships of the Arabia and China. With the account of Marco Polo, we come to know the information of thousands of horses which was imported by our India from the country Arabia and Persia. So these information we got it from the Marco Polo's account. So next traveler is Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni visited our India during the time of 11th century. He came to India along with the Muhammad campaign. Muhammad of Ghazni invaded into India, no? So that time he came along with him and he stayed nearly 10 years in India. Then he gave the detailed account of the Muhammad's expedition on Somnath temple. In Somnath temple expedition is very important even. In coming classes we will see deeply. Simply know that Somnath temple was plundered by the Muhammad of Ghazni. So that event was detailedly explained in this account of Al-Biruni. Next, Alberoni was mostly trying to understand our India and their people. So then he learned the language Sanskrit and he learned philosophy of India. He wrote the book named as Tahui Ki Hind, which describes about the Indian condition, that is economic condition, their knowledge and social norms of India and what are the religions available here. Everything is detailedly explained in this book. So these are all the information was given by the traveler Alberoni. Next traveler Ibn Battuta. He was born in Arab and he became the Morocco scholar. He traveled from Morocco to Egypt. Morocco actually in the North Africa. He traveled from Morocco to Egypt and then to Central Asia. Finally he reached India. He wrote the travelogue with the name Rihla. Rihla means the travels. In his book he mentioned all the places where he visited and he wrote all the information about that. Then he mentioned that according to his view, he mentioned that Egypt was a rich country in that time because all the trades of India was happened through the Egypt to western countries. So he concerned that Egypt was rich in that time. He also described about our India and its caste and the practice of sati. Sati in Tamil we can say udankattai erudal. It was actually the superstition of Indian people of Hindu. So this everything was mentioned in the book of Rihla. He also described about the city of Delhi. He thinks that Delhi has the enormous area and also the thing was happened in the same time. What that thing? That is Muhammad bin Tughlaq shifted his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Daulatabad in olden name is Devagiri. Now it called as Daulatabad. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq shifted his capital from Delhi to Devagiri. This thing was happened in the time of Ibn Battuta visited time. And next one is many travelers have visited our Vijayanagar Empire. Here we have some mentioned travelers. First one is Niccolo Conti. He visited Vijayanagar Empire in the year of 1420. He was an Italian traveler. Next one is Abdul Razak. He visited our Vijayanagar Empire in the year of 1443. He was from the Herat city of Central Asia. And next one is Domingo Paez. Domingo Paez visited Vijayanagar Empire in the year of 1522. He was a Portuguese traveler. These travelers have visited our Vijayanagar Empire and they have given a lot of detail about the Vijayanagar Empire to us. So with this, we completed our lesson. So once we recall that, in this lesson, sources of medieval India, we have seen two type of sources, primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources consist of archaeological sources like inscription, monuments and coins. Secondary sources consist of literary works like religious literature, secular literature, books, autobiographies and biographies. Finally, travelers and travelers. I hope you all have understand this lesson. Thank you, students.